DreAllDay.com.
Learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is DreBaldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, if you want to tell your story, you got to go win something. Before we get into this, let me remind everybody that I have a daily motivation text that I send out free of charge every single day, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. Since I know you want to receive this text, let me tell you what to do to get it. All you got to do is text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every morning when that text goes out, starting tomorrow morning, you will be receiving this message straight to your phone. Again, it's going to do exactly what I said it's going to do. All you got to do is text me at that number to get it. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That is the place where I do all my coaching. People ask me, Dre, do you offer coaching? The answer is yes, but. They ask, do you have coaching? Do you have courses? The answer is yes, but. People say, Dre, do you ever send out physical mailings besides just emails? Nobody ever asked that, but the answer is yes. Even though you didn't ask, I'm planning the question. Yes, I'll do that, but. The fill in the blank after the but to all three of those is that the only way you can get access to any of those things, my coaching, my courses, my physical mailings that I send out, all the trainings that I do, is you must be a member of Work on Your Game University. There is no other way to get access to any of that material. You must be a member of Work on Your Game University. Okay, you can join the university by going to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. That is how you get access to all of that material. Again, WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. The number to get my text. Daily motivation text that I send out every day as well, down below in the description to this episode. So getting into this topic, you want to tell your story, go win something. I was thinking recently about several things. One of the things that caught my mind was thinking back to the 2020 and 2021 Olympics. Got broken up into 2 years there because of the COVID scamdemic. And I remember Simone Biles, who was the gymnast, the women's gymnast on the U.S. Women's team, who had dazzled at the previous Olympiad and had been labeled by some people as the greatest gymnast at that time. And some people even went as far as to call her the GOAT, G-O-A-T, an acronym for greatest of all time in gymnastics. Now, who knows if she actually is, or if anybody objectively thought that. People get caught up in the moment and whatever. So as she had done so well at the previous Olympiad, people expected Biles to do great at the 2020 and 2021 Olympics. But what happened is she ended up choking. She got what they call twisties, which is like she had just some anxiety about going up and vaulting and jumping, and her mind wasn't in the right space. She ended up not competing. Long story short, left her teammates, hung her teammates out to dry. They had to go perform and compete without her, and she didn't really compete much in that Olympics, at least not nearly as much as she had in the previous, nor did she perform as well as she had in the previous Olympiad. And I remember there was a conversation I was having with a few business colleagues, maybe about 6 months to 12 months after that Olympics. And we were discussing this. And I said exactly what I just said to you all, that she had embraced this whole concept of being called the GOAT. See, it wasn't just so much that she didn't perform, because that could happen with anybody, but it was that she had embraced this whole thing of, I'm the greatest of all time. She didn't just sheepishly say, no, I'm not the greatest. I did pretty well. I appreciate it, but I'm not going to call myself that. No, she bought into it. She put a GOAT insignia on her performance leotard that she wears when she goes out and performs. And she embraced this whole thing. I'm the GOAT. I'm the greatest of all time. Okay, that's fine. I have no problem with somebody calling themselves that as long as you can live up to it. She stepped on the biggest stage in her space and she choked. That's what happened. Now, whatever story you want to give to it, whatever reason you want to give as an explanation, it is fine. The fact is, she did not perform after she embraced being called the greatest of all time. Now, if she didn't do that, then I wouldn't even be talking about it. If she had just performed, done well, and then came out and didn't perform again, I'd say that's a tough break for her. But if you embrace, I'm the greatest of all time, and then you step on the biggest stage of your thing and don't do anything, and you don't even compete, then yeah, you're going to get attacked for that. You're going to get ridiculed for it. People are going to call you out for it. And that's what happened. Because sports is a masculine space, and this is what masculine energy does. If you don't live up to what you say you're going to do, you're going to get called out for it. And the whole thing is, when this conversation was happening, me and a couple peers of mine, there were a few women who jumped in the conversation and said, well, I get what you're saying, Dre, but She had other things going on other than just gymnastics and things like that. And they were bringing all this softness to the conversation, trying to soften the situation. And the whole point is, and this is what I expressed to them and I'll express to you as well, nobody gives a damn about the other things that were going on. Nobody gives a damn about the story and the explanation. Nobody wants to hear that shit. And alas, nobody has. And I'm also thinking about all of you out there, because every person who's listening to me right now, you have a story. Everybody has a story. Successful people have stories. Mediocre people have stories. Failures have stories. But only a select few people get to tell their stories and have an audience who wants to hear it at the same time. So what is the difference between them, those who get to tell their stories, and everybody else, those who do not? That's what we're going to discuss here today. That's the topic. Let's get to it. Point number one. Topic once again today is, you want to tell your story, go win something. Number one, to the victors, go the spoils. What does that mean? Basically means, if you never heard this phrase, it means the people who win get their pick of whatever prizes they want, and everybody else gets the table scraps. Human beings are naturally attracted to winners. We are naturally attracted to people who win. Even if we don't like the person who won, we're naturally attracted to them. We want to be around and follow those who are and who appear to be successful. And success is a relative term. So whatever we see as success in our eyes, we are attracted to people who appear to have achieved that. So it's not your success in your eyes makes people attracted to you. No, it's their success and what they see as successful. If you happen to have it, that's what attracts them. Nobody wants to hang around a loser. Nobody wants to hang around a could have been individual who has a story to tell about what they did not do. Let me say that again. No one wants to hang around a loser, nor does anyone want to hang around a could have been individual who has a story to tell about what they did not do. So if you want to tell your story, become a successful person. And again, success is in the eyes of the audience whom you wish to influence. So if there's an audience of people you want to influence, here's what you need to do. Find out what they see as success and present yourself as having that success, or just show them that you have it if you actually do. Ideally, you do. Find an audience who actually is looking for success in things that you have actually achieved, so you don't have to tell them a lie. It's hard to remember a lie. It's easy to remember the truth. So that's what you do. Become a successful person and carry yourself as a successful individual, even if you are not yet a successful individual. Remember the be, do, and have framework, which you've heard me mention here multiple times. I also go into detail in it in my book, Work on Your Game, which you can get at WorkOnYourGame.com. You assume the posture and the energy of the person you plan on being, the idealized version of yourself, before you take on the actions of that individual. Then you take on the actions, and then you get the results. Energy, action, result. In that order. Energy, action, result. Now understand, this is not faking it till you make it. Now, I do not believe in fake it till you make it. I'm a detractor of the concept. I am a staunch believer, however, in becoming it to be it. Becoming it and stepping into the energy. That's what I'm a staunch believer in. I talk about this in one of my TED Talks. You see all my TED Talks by going to WorkOnYourGame.com/TED or DreAllDay.com/TED. Might be both of them, but at least one of those works, I know. And also, I talk about in my book, The Super You, unlocking and living with your highest level of confidence. Because that's really what this is about. It's unlocking and living at your highest level of being you. So it's not about you faking it or pretending to be someone else. It's about you stepping into the highest version of you. Whatever you could be at your idealized level is you stepping into that. So envisioning who that person is, still you, but just a higher level of you, and stepping into that energy, that posture, that positioning. You step into that now, then you become that individual. And this is all about your posture. And I talk about your posture in episode 1411. So if you haven't heard that episode about fixing your posture, make sure you go listen to that episode. And again, every episode in history of the show is available at WorkOnYourGamePodcast.com. This is not faking it till you make it, okay? This is stepping into the energy of your most successful self, not pretending to be it, but carrying yourself as this person. Then you take the actions that are a reflection of that individual. Now, you may think this to be just semantics. Well, Dre, maybe you're just playing with words here, messing around with words. Well, two things. Number one, semantics matter. So when you say something is just semantics, that doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. It means it does matter. It's like when people say these days, people say, well, a certain thing is a social construct, as if that means it doesn't matter. Well, there's a lot of social constructs that we all adhere to. All right, wearing clothes in public is a social construct. All right, so just because something's a social construct doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. All right, so semantics matter. Semantics is wordplay. It's how we use words, and words matter a ton. If you listen to this show enough, you know how much I emphasize that. I just talked about this in episode 2605, the satanic attack on language. This is all about semantics, how we use words. And number one, semantics matter if you're calling this semantics. And number two, this is more than semantics. This is an energetic shift. And when you shift your energy, it infects your actions. This is an automatic thing. When you change your energy, your actions will automatically change. Again, this is be, do, and have. When you change who you are being, your actions will follow suit, and the results will follow the actions. Point number two. Today's topic, once again, is if you want to tell your story, you have to go and win something. Number two, nobody wants to hear from the loser. Nobody wants to hear from a loser. You don't get to go on a press tour. You don't get to sit on Oprah Winfrey's couch and tell a story when you lose, at least most of the time. Now, as much hate, think about this, for example. Donald Trump, when he won the 2016 election, as much negative energy and hate he got after winning that election, or even in the process of winning that election, notice who didn't get that much attention or much of a press tour after the initial shock of the situation wore off. You know who didn't get that much attention? Hillary Clinton, his opponent, who he had beaten. Even though there were a whole bunch of people who were sympathetic towards Hillary, a bunch of people who went out and protested. There's some people who I know personally, I won't say their names here today, not today at least, who went out and protested after Trump won, and they were protesting not my president for whatever reason. I have no idea why. There was no legitimate claim that he didn't win. He won. But there are people out there protesting. And so a whole bunch of people just hated Donald Trump, right, when he won that election. As much hate as he got, notice that not many people gave that much attention to Hillary Clinton. They were just giving hate to Trump. Nobody wanted to interview Clinton because she will go down in history as a loser, because that's what she did. She lost. She lost to Barack Obama in 2008, running for the Democratic ticket. Then she lost to Donald Trump in 2016. Now, I'm not saying this to bash Hillary Clinton, but you can call that if you wish. I really don't give a damn. But had she won, Donald Trump would not be getting as much attention anymore if he didn't come back and win. Let's say he had lost in 2016. Maybe he would have come back in 2020 and won. He would, between 2016 and 2020, let's just say that term, he wouldn't have got as much attention between 2016 and 2020 had he not won. People would have said, get out of here, Trump, you lost. Go back to reality TV. You're not serious, et cetera, which is what most people were saying all the way up to the day of that election. Right after the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton wrote a book titled What Happened? And I guess this book was ostensibly to explain why she lost the election. I did not buy nor did I read this book. If any of you did buy and read this book, please message me and tell me what you thought of it. But because as I told you, the reason I didn't buy or read this book is I told you, who wants to read a book written by a loser explaining to you why they lost? Who cares about that book? Nobody wants to read that. Who wants to read a book by a loser? Now, I think Hillary got a lot of sympathy buys. She got a lot of pity sales from people who hated so much that Trump won that they went and bought Hillary's book as a way to show support for not liking Trump. But many people did read this book for whatever reason. I have no idea why. Maybe it sympathizes with losers. They read this book. And I looked through some of the reviews of this Hillary book and making the notes for my episode here today. And I looked through a lot of the 3-star reviews. I like to look through those when I'm looking at products just to see what people who just rated something as average, what they say about it, what are the downsides of it. Because the 5 stars are usually people who are just generally happy. They just want to leave the 5. The 1 stars are people who may be just generally negative or they just had some outlier bad experience, generally speaking, most of the time. The 3s, I like to read the most because I get to hear the good side and the downside if there is any. And the 3-star review said, this book didn't really explain anything. The book did not explain what happened in that election, even though it is framed as if it's explaining what happened in the election, which is a good marketing job by Hillary's team. It was really just Hillary talking about what it was like to run for president. She wasn't really explaining anything. Now, I guess, hey, if I had lost the election and I had that much attention on me at that time, look, I would have taken a paycheck and written a book about it too. But the whole point is, who really cares? Who wants to read a book by somebody who lost, explaining to you why they lost, when you could just as easily read a book by the winner, explaining why they won? And usually we read the book by the winner. Why? Because we want to know how to win. We don't know how to lose. Right? Why would you read a book about a loser? You want to learn how to lose? You want to learn how to win. So you're going to read the book by the winner if you're going to read anything. Again, just think about it. Think about it yourself. Forget about Trump and Clinton. Just think about it yourself. Which book would you rather read? The one of the winner or the one of the loser? Usually the one that is doing the thing that you want to be doing. Again, this is why the whole point of today's episode is the point of today's episode. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is you want to tell your story, go win something. Number 3, winning matters. Winning matters. In this culture that we have people with participation trophies, we have people using softening language, people trying to explain how the win is not the whole game, which is, again, just a emotional ploy to make you feel like winning is not important. It's important. Winning is important. It matters a lot. Why? Because when you win, you get the spoils. You get your pick. You get to write your own ticket. You get to write your own check. You get to call your own shots when you are successful. When you are not successful, when you don't win, these things get dictated to you. But when you win, you get to dictate them to others. And most people want to be able to dictate things. You want to be able to call your own shot in life. The simplest way to call your own shot in life is to win at the things that you do. Simple as that. Winning allows you to serve yourself, your family, your community, and the wider world, because you will have people's attention and you will have their energy. And again, winning does not necessarily mean you beating another person. Winning is about you reaching your goals, the things that you want to do. So if a win for you is you want to make a certain amount of money so you can help out your mom and make sure that you're taking care of your kids, and you want to allow your significant other to not have to work and you'll make all the money, if that's your win, then that's what you need to be doing. That matters. That allows you to serve, again, yourself, your family, your community, and the wider world. From there, you can share whatever bigger ideas you have. If you want to change the world, if any of those things matter to you, you can do that. Or you just want to sit in your home and not be bothered, you can do that as well. But you have to earn the right to be able to do these things. You got to earn the privilege of doing these things. Let me say it again. Winning matters. As our society has grown softer and weaker, we have become more and more feminized and less rugged, both mentally and physically. And if you have never heard me talk about how our society has become more feminized, I'll refer you to a few episodes. I gave you the feminization of sports in a 6-part series starting in episode number 2200. Didn't hear that one. Episode number 2457, I identified toxic femininity. And episode 2039, I gave you the worst traits of feminized men. So if you have not listened to those episodes, go ahead and listen to them so you know what I mean when I say feminized. This doesn't necessarily mean an attack on women. A lot of it is actually about men, not women. And our society has become less rugged, both mentally and physically. We are just overall weak and soft in the world that we live in today, as a general rule. The concept of winning versus losing has been watered down a lot. I'm here to bring it back. Winners get to write their own check, dictate their terms of engagement. They get to live how they want to live. They do not have to answer to anyone else. They get freedom, power, and control. Now, I've had conversations via direct message, text message, email, live conversations with many of you who are listening to this show. Every single one of you who I've ever had a conversation with, textually or in person or virtually, every single one of you has expressed wanting at least one of the traits that I just mentioned. Let me list them again. Writing your own checks. In other words, determining how much money you make. Dictating the terms of engagement. In other words, you get to dictate what your schedule in life looks like on a day-to-day, hour-by-hour basis. Living how you want to live, which may be different than how you're living right now. Not answering to other people. Not being under anyone else's thumb. Nobody can tell you what to do. Having the freedom to do what you want, the power to do what you want, and the control to control these things. Every single one of you who I've ever talked to has expressed wanting at least one of these, if not all of them. All of these happen when you win. You get all of these when you're successful. None of them happen when you lose. So let me ask you, is that a good enough selling point for why you need to win? If it's not, then you can tell me what I'm missing. What did I not share here today that maybe you think might get you more inclined to want to go out and win? Send me a text and let me know. I'll give you my number in a second. Let's recap today's class, which is, if you want to tell your story, go win something. And I was thinking about people who have gone out and not performed at the level that they wanted to perform or the level that was expected of them. They get to tell their story. Not really. Why? Because people don't really give a damn. Nobody wants to hear from the person who lost. People want to hear from the person who won. Today, let's talk about how to become that person who won. Number one, to the victors, go the spoils. Human beings are naturally attracted to winners. Even if we don't like the winner, we'll pay more attention to the person who won than we do to the person who lost. Why? Because it's just part of our natural wiring. Look at yourself. You notice that you do this. So if you want to tell your story, you must become a successful person and carry yourself as a successful person, even if you have not yet become a successful person. Remember the be, do, have framework that you have to assume the posture and the energy of the person you plan on being before you can take the actions of that person. This is a energetic shift. This is not mere semantics, even though if it was semantics, semantics matter. Communication skills matter. Words matter. Number two, nobody wants to hear from the loser. All right, Oprah's not going to invite you to sit on her couch and talk about how you lost. All right, you don't get a press conference after you lose. You get a press conference after you win. Now you might get to talk a little bit after you lose, but then you go away and then everybody else comes to hear what the winner has to say because nobody wants to really hear from the loser. All right, losers don't usually get the right books. All right, there are some exceptions, but for the most part, the winner's book is going to sell a lot more than the loser's book. Why? Because we want to read about the story of a person who's doing the thing that we want to do. Number three, winning matters. It allows you to serve yourself, your family, your community, and the wider world because you will have people's attention and you will have their energy. People who win get to write their own checks, dictate the terms of engagement, live how they want to live. They don't answer to anyone. They get freedom, power, and control. Every single person I've ever talked to who was looking to up their game and step their game up and work on their game and improve themselves in whatever way mentioned at least one of those things they want to do in life. Most people mention all of them. So if you want them, here's the easiest way to do it. Figure out what the win is for you, the measurable win, the win that other people would recognize and appreciate, and then go do it. You win, you get all those things and a whole lot more. Is that a good enough selling point for winning? With all that said, text me. Let me know the best insight you got from today's masterclass. Or if I missed something, you can let me know that as well. My number is 305-384-6894. And WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. That is the place where you get to work with me directly. If you want to win, you want to be successful, you want to get out here and stop settling, you want to start kicking ass and taking names, you want to actually get to the results that you've been talking about getting to, you want to actually finally reach your potential instead of just talking about it, go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com, schedule a call with us, or you can join and get access to all the courses and training right now directly. And you don't even have to schedule a call with us. You got options. They're all right there on the page when you go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.